much. But speaking of the Yankee starting rotation, Corey Kluber's coming back, or he came back.
Yeah.
Obviously, last night wasn't, or was it last? Yeah, last night wasn't really the best start. But talk about this rotation. I know, they obviously have their ace, and he's pitching well. What do you expect from this rotation? Is it good enough to get him in? I guess they're going to the playoffs now.
Unless
something happens. But talk to me about the rotation and their bullpen. I know you said they've blown some saves, but just watching the Yankees and their bullpen, they have some really good pieces. Chapman's obviously having a little funk that he's in, but Loaizinga, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right.
Yeah,
he's doing well. You had a couple other people, Wandy Peralta. I feel like he pitches well.
He's been a stud,
yeah. So talk to me about your pitching. Is it good enough to get him through the postseason?
Okay, well, here's how I see it. I'm looking at the rotation right now. You got Garrett Cole at the top, obviously. Game 2, you're looking at Montgomery or Jameson Taillon, depending on matchups, in my opinion. You might want Monty because he's a lefty. He's been pretty solid this year. The Yankees refuse to hit for him, though, so his record does not look good. But another thing that's been taken away kind of is looking at pitchers' wins and losses. Like, no one really seems to look at that anymore. Montgomery's a good example of why you don't look at it. Even Corbin Burns doesn't even have like double-digit wins. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Or maybe he just got 10. I don't know. But like, it's another thing, like you said, the on-base people look at more, and the strikeouts they don't look at as much. But for the rotation, I think Cortez can possibly be in play. Maybe Corey Kluber, if he's healthy, he will be one of the 4 starters. The Yankees signed him for $11 million to pitch in the playoffs. They're not going to not pitch him in the playoffs as long as he's relatively healthy. Yesterday, he looked good for 3 innings. He had it going for 3 innings. In the 4th, it kind of came unraveled with 2 outs. He got squeezed on a few pitches that I think kind of changed his height of the inning. He gave up, I think 3 hits were like on the first pitch or something, and some hits were like he was behind the count 2-0 and 2-1. The grand slam was obviously the backbreaker. Maybe was he left in a little bit too long? Probably, but it is his first time back. I'm not going to hate on him for that. I was expecting bumps in the road. He did throw close to 70 pitches, so that's positive. You think next time he gets up to like 75, 80 and just continues that progression, I think he'll be fine down the stretch, but we're going to have to see. I think Luis Hill is an interesting option, but I don't think they're going to use him in the playoffs. It seems like they want him in the bullpen potentially. So I think you're looking at the guys I said. Cortez could be in play maybe, especially in that swingman role too. Herman and Severino should return in the bullpen. Well, Sevy's a little more unknown, but Herman should be back in the bullpen. Sevy will have to see. If he makes it back, he's going to be a bullpen piece.
Montgomery, he's been pitching well. He's coming up on the most innings he's pitched since 2017. Because in 18 he pitched 27, 19 he pitched only 4 innings.
Right, the Tommy John, yeah.
Yeah, and then the last year he only pitched 44 innings. Do you know if there's any talks of like inning limitations? I know the season's almost over now, but or is there any worries about if he can keep up?
That's a good point because I think Taijuan Walker for the Mets really struggled with that, and he kind of hit a wall, and you saw what happened. So I haven't heard anything about them shutting him down innings-wise right now. I think they kind of need him at this point at a necessity. Am I a little bit concerned? Kinds of, I guess, but at the same time, he's been good so far. You just got to ride it out and hope for the best, I think, because the injuries have kind of left him in this position. They don't really have many other options here. Not like you can add an arm at this point. I'll get to the bullpen in a little bit too, but Montgomery, what's the career high? Did you see it? What is it, like 140 something?
I think it's 142, but
so he's around 130 right now or so, I believe. So he is getting close to it, like you said.
155 is his innings, the most innings he's pitched, and he's at 130 now.
All right, yeah, so he's going to hit that this month, obviously. Maybe they'll do a 6-man rotation soon because they are going to have a stretch of 20 straight games. So maybe that could be entertaining to try to help everyone a little bit. For now, I think it's all systems go with him though.
For sure. And Nestor Cortez, where did he come from?
He's been a godsend for this team. He really has been. The Yankees have had him. They've let him go. He went to Seattle. They got him back. He's a junk baller. He's a throwback. He uses location. He's got quirky deliveries. His breaking stuff gets him by. He barely hits 90 miles an hour. I've watched him pitch a few times. It's pretty fascinating to see how he does it. So the Yankees kind of just got him off the scrap heap in a sense. and he was a spring training invite, I think. And he ends up working his way up due to all these injury concerns. At first, he was in the bullpen. Then they had to start him because they didn't have any starters. Then he actually ends up doing pretty well in the starting rotation. So now he didn't have the best start against you guys, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
But he's been good. Will he get figured out soon? Maybe. But for now, they're going to ride it out with him too. His next start should be against Baltimore, I believe. So I don't see why he wouldn't do well against them. But he's been a great story. He's definitely been a shot in the arm for us. He really delivered when they needed it because they were in a bad situation. They were playing around 500 ball when he entered the rotation. And he was definitely a big part of the reason why they turned him around.